As Christian men, we are called to surrender our lives to Jesus. To surrender to Jesus means to give in, not to give up. We are called to use our strengths, abilities, and opportunities to grow and prosper. We are called to strengthen ourselves, our families, and our communities. We are called to be disciplined, courageous, and honorable. This is Surrendered Strength. Men, welcome back to another episode of the Surrendered Strength podcast. I'm your host, Nylan Lansing, and I'm glad to have you here, whether this is your first episode or you are here every week. I'm glad you're here. We need more men willing to live in a way that honors and glorifies God in their body, mind, and spirit. And speaking of body, that's what we're going to be talking about today. I spoke a lot this week on being in the gym, and that's what we're going to dive into and how that all connects. But first, I want to just encourage you, ask that you would share this with a buddy that may need it, or just post it on your social media, rate it, leave a like, and subscribe, whether you're on YouTube watching this, on one of the Spotify, Apple, wherever you can listen to the podcast. I would encourage you to do that just so we can get this information out and get more men living in a way that honors and glorifies God. So let's dive into today's topic. Like I said, this past week, I'm talking a lot about body and fitness and being in the gym and how that all plays a role in our faith. And a lot of men go through life with this mindset of, I can compartmentalize my life. And especially being in law enforcement, being, whether you're first responder in law enforcement or first responder in other areas, we have this idea that we can truly leave work at work and come home and, whatever happened at work the night before isn't going to affect us. This isn't true. Yes, we can put things in compartments to deal with later, or to at least attempt to hide them. But the reality is everything that we do in our life is connected. It's going to impact us either positively or negatively. And if we're not dealing with this in a way that isn't helpful, beneficial, it's going to create just chaos in our life. And this could be, again, in your body, in your mind, or in your spirit. So we have to understand that we can't truly compartmentalize. We can hide stuff for a while, but eventually it's going to come out. It's no different than when I was struggling working. I went to work second shift, and then there was times where I was working third shift before I got into law enforcement, working at the prison, and just the things I was seeing and just the people I was around, and me being extra tired as a young husband, father to some young boys and a daughter. Like, all of this was playing a role, and I thought I was managing it, but I truly wasn't, because I was lashing out. I was angry. There was no joy in my life, and little things set me off. And even though I was fairly consistent with, taking care of my body, there was still a lot of things happening underneath the surface that were causing me to struggle with the way I was responding to my wife and to my kids, and it was, again, causing chaos. And the reality is that what's happening in our life and the way we show up in different areas is going to play out in every area. no matter how much we say, oh, I'm going to be this way at work or be this way with these people, but I'm going to be a different way. It doesn't work that way. And yeah, we can fake it and hide it for a little bit, but eventually it's all going to play out and it's all going to it's all going to show itself. So again, this week I was talking a lot about faith and fitness and how the men we are in the gym, things that we do, the way that we live in the gym are going to impact us in our everyday life. And one of the topics was talking about character. And a lot of people believe, character, it's a character builder going to the gym. And as I mentioned, it can be just no different than sports growing up as kids and young men. It's an opportunity to build character. But at the same time, before you can build your character, have your character built, you're going to get revealed. And you're either going to take responsibility for the character that shows up, that is revealed, the character traits that are revealed through your workouts, whether you're skipping reps, whether you're cutting corners in the gym, in your nutrition, like all these things are going to be revealed, and you can either accept it and say, yes, I didn't finish the workout, I skipped this for whatever reason, and I can do better, or I could have done more there, but it was getting heavy, I didn't want to do it. You have to accept that you took that shortcut. You have to accept the fact that you didn't do what you could have done. If you don't, then you're going to continue down the path, and again, your character is just going to continue to show up over and over. That you're someone who is going to take the easy route. You're going to cut the corners. You're going to quit when it gets hard. And you doing that in the gym is going to show up in the rest of your life. This is like someone who starts a fitness program and they get a week or so into it, and it's just it's too challenging, it doesn't fit their schedule, they come up with all these reasons, so they stop doing it, and maybe a few weeks, a couple months later, they try a different one. The same thing happens because they want what is comfortable, and they're not willing to do the hard things, or when things get hard, they're not willing to push through. And you do that in the gym, it's going to show up in your life, in your relationships. And I've been that guy, and I've seen this happen in my own relationships before I was married, where hey, things started to get challenging. Maybe this isn't maybe this relationship isn't the one, it isn't for me, so I'm gonna go somewhere else and find somebody different. This is exactly what happens. Our character is going to be revealed when challenges happen, when things get tough, and the gym is just an opportunity for us to have those revealed and then work on changing them, improving them, building them. So that was one of the topics that I spoke about. Another topic that I want to kind of hit on today is just the fact that our bodies, we've been given these crazy awesome bodies, that were made in the image of God, and we can use them to be a blessing, or they're going to be a burden. Meaning, if we're taking care of them, if we're managing what God gave us in a way that honors and glorifies him. I mean, we're not taking in a bunch of excess. We're not running and hiding within our body and just not doing anything. When we're taking care of our body, we are going to be able to take care of the people that God has entrusted us with, whether that's your spouse, your kids, your community, your coworkers, all of the above. We have to take care of what we've been given. And so your body, you yourself, the temple that you've been given to house the Holy Spirit, like this all can be a blessing when we take care of it, when we're disciplined in the way we live. But if we're not, then it actually becomes a burden. And I've spoke about this before. And you we're truly, if we're not taking care of our bodies, if we're not disciplined, like the Bible tells us to be disciplined, uh, to be disciplined, self-controlled, sober-minded. When we're not doing this, we're actually not only burdening the people around us today, but we're actually burdening them in the future as well. Because someone's going to have to take care of you eventually if you're not taking care of yourself. And not only that, but the way you live your life is the way your children are most likely going to live their life, because they're going to imitate you. Just as we're called to imitate the Father, they're going to imitate us. So if we're living in a way that is burdensome to ourselves, we're actually burdening them as well today and in the future. And not only that, we're burdening their kids unless our children make the choice to imitate the Father. But that's our job, first and foremost, to imitate the Father and to live in a way that honors and glorifies him, to take care of what he has given us, and to be that example for them. And at some point, we have to say, hey, I've been imitating God, Jesus. So I appreciate the fact that you have followed me as an example, but now it's time for you to truly look to the Father, truly imitate Jesus for yourself, because we as men, we fall short. As much as we want to be great role models and be examples for our children, at some point we're going to have to say, hey, you need to follow God. You need to follow Jesus and imitate Jesus, because that's the image you're after. And like I said, we want to imitate Jesus ourselves. And we can do that the best we want, but at the same time, we're still going to fall short of Jesus and his example. But until that time, until they're, in their teens, 20s, whenever that might be for them, we are the example. We set the standard, and that standard is set by God. So we're imitating that standard that we are hopefully showing our children how to be a blessing, not only for themselves, for the people around them, for their kids, if the world is still here at that time, as we imitate God and Jesus. So then again, our bodies, our minds, our spirits, all that we have can either be a blessing or it can be a burden, depending on how we're taking care of it. And if we're not disciplined, if we're not self-controlled, if we're not sober-minded, we are ultimately becoming a burden to those around us. And as Christian men, we should be the most disciplined. Not only because we're imitating Jesus, but because that's exactly what we're called to. We're called to imitate Jesus and to be disciplined, to be sober minded, and to live in a way that is different than this world. This world has no care for discipline. This world that wants everyone to be comfortable, to be living in fear. It's quite the dichotomy that the world wants you to be comfortable, but they also are making you focus on the fear so that you go get something else to make yourself comfortable, to make you feel secure. But then there's something else that's supposed to cause you fear, and now you have to go get something else. This is a constant that we see, and if we're not disciplined in our mind, body, and spirit, we're going to be chasing all of these things instead of living in a way, again, that honors and glorifies God, that is living by faith, being disciplined in our faith. We're not living by our feelings. We're not living by fear. And I can assure you that when we live by faith, it is so much greater than trying to live by fear, trying to live by our feelings, because all of these things, all of those things are going to lie to us. We have to live by faith and hold fast to the truth that is in the Bible. So, men, I want to just kind of reiterate everything you do in life, in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, the way you are taking care of all three of those is going to show up in your life. You can't truly compartmentalize these things. You can hide it, you can fake it for a while, but eventually it's going to start to show up in every area of your life. And the man you've been is going to spill out. It's going to get revealed. And it gets revealed in the challenges, in the difficult situations, when the weight gets heavy and the pressure is on. You're going to get exposed. So the question is, who have you been and who do you want to be? And if you want to be someone who is strong, firm, steady, then we are called to imitate Jesus and to be disciplined, to be sober minded, and to be self controlled. And when we're not going to stand firm. We're going to continue to run from one thing to another, trying to find comfort, trying to find security that isn't there, because there's only one place that we can find security, and that's in our faith, through our faith in Jesus Christ. So, men, this might be a lot for you to take in, but understand the way you live your life, the way you take care of your body is going to play out in every area. So it's time to start getting disciplined. And the easiest way for you to do that is to take care of your body, what you're doing in your fitness, how you're eating. And the next way, maybe even the better way, is to get around other men that are doing that. So I'm gonna invite you guys to join the Strong Disciples, which is a group of guys that we've brought together that want to live in a way that honors and glorifies God, they want to be in the Bible and imitate Jesus in every area of their life. So if this sounds like you, if this sounds like you want to be disciplined, if you want to be self-controlled, if you want to live in a way that imitates Jesus and allows you to be disciplined, allows you to be steady, not chasing after the things of this world. Again, the Strong Disciples is a great place for you to start that journey and potentially finish the journey. So I'll put a link in the bio. And again, we need more men that are honoring and glorifying God. God bless. Thanks for listening. Connect with me on Instagram and Facebook at Surrendered Strength. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and live the Surrendered Strength Code. Discipline, courage, honor.